F1 category. Today we are in Belgium for the Spa-Francorchamps GP, one of my all-time favourite tracks. I am fresh off the F3 race, which started off with intermediate conditions. Went to a dry for the last 5 laps, I think it was. So what can we see here today from the F1 guys? Now we are missing Bailey Ford, our championship leader at this stage. He's currently in the Gold Coast watching the Australian V8 Supercars live, so he's not racing today. It's going to take a big chunk out of his championship points. He's only 23 points in front of John, so if John gets the win, John will take over the lead of the championship again with only a handful of races left. So this could be a telling point for Bailey to miss this event. Mackenzie's pretty much already out of the championship standings. He's 80 points behind the leader, so he's pretty much out of the championship standings. Josh is another 4. Josh is near on 100 odd, 120 odd points behind as well, so Josh is out of the championship. He could take P3 though. So we've really only got a 2-horse battle here for the win of the championship, being Josh and Bailey. Qualifying looks a bit overcast here, so what's going to happen is we're just waiting for the game to load. I'm sorry for the background noise. I have told my son to be quiet, but clearly hasn't worked, so we're just waiting for anyone to fire up. It's looking a bit overcast. Every practice session I've hosted so far this week has had rain somewhere within qualifying or race. So will this be another case of that? So Spa, circuit of 7.2 kilometres, I think it is, or 7.1. Very fast flowing circuit, not a lot of aerodynamics needed. I was running 3.5 wings. I had a really good car through the first sector, had a really good car at the end sector. Was a little slow through the middle, being that's the spot where you need the most aero, but you sacrifice that just to get a bit more straight line speed. So Sebastian Spicer will be our first one out today in the one and only Renault. So everyone's on the soft compound apart from Tao and Kush. So as Kush just goes now onto soft compound tyres, so Tao being the only one on the mediums. Mackenzie's out, Luke's out, and Sebastian are out at the moment. So Luke's been giving his teammate a bit of a headache of late. Nothing to do with dirty driving or anything, just really challenging his teammate as well. So Josh is starting to like this rivalry here between himself and Luke. So what can Luke do this round? Maybe get the better up on Josh. Josh is pretty confident on his chances of winning today. He's done a lot of practice, as do most of these F1 guys. So yeah, we'll see what sort of pace Josh has got. Sorry, we'll go back to Seb as he's coming into the third. Well, he's just gone over the third sector, coming up I'm going to call this the back straight. It's not really straight, but it is flat out. So in these modern day cars, most of this track is using power. I don't know specifically the percentage of on throttle to off throttle, but So here comes Seb around the final corner of the bus stop, plants the power, DRS is open. We'll watch this lap, ladies and gentlemen, and see what it's like. So coming into turn one, just clip the inside apex there, very nicely done. Easy on the throttle not to get wheel spin coming out of turn one as you do go downhill and it throws all the weight to the front. Coming up Rouge, this is flat. You can see him not lifted one inch. Opens DRS in overtake ERS mode as well. So coming into sector one, what does he do? It's a 29.7. A bit of a brake lock up there coming into the top of the hill here at sector 2, coming down to this big hairpin. Now this is a tricky corner as well to get right. Some people in F3 were going very wide to try and straighten up the exit, but Seb's done it well. Coming down to No Name, you can take that really wide and get right up against that wall. Coming into pull on, now this is a bit of a lift in these cars, you can't quite take it flat. Comes out of pull on, very nicely done there, coming through the second S's, coming out of there nicely, coming into the two little right-handers, coming onto the back straight, does a 16 flat, or 116 flat for the end of the sector 2, coming back up the hill now, coming into, I think this is Blanchemont or something like that, coming into the bus stop chicane now, hard on the brakes, probably one of the hardest braking points of the circuit. Coming down, opens DRS again, coming across the line to set a 44.3 for his first time. Luke's coming across to set a 44.5. Now Mackenzie's coming up to the bus stop chicane now. What can he do in the McLaren? He's already aborted his lap and gone straight into the pit. So what can Josh do now? Coming across the line, opens his DRS. He does a 43.4 to jump Seb by almost a second. That is 9/10. So we got Luke's still pushing, or Sebastian's backed right out of it. So we got yellow flags in sector 3. We got Leaf going very slow, and who was that just overtook him? That was John in the other McLaren. So Leaf playing a strategy game here, trying to keep up with John. So we'll go on board, we'll watch this lap here with John very particular, goes on board. Coming down the hill, we'll see if he lifts at all through the uphill bit here. No lift whatsoever. Keeps it flat, keeps it absolutely planted. The car was very nice through there. They sometimes get a little bit unstable, but John's got his car set up very well at the moment. Hard on the brakes into turn 4, 5 and 6. Very tricky little section, those 3 turns. If you outbrake yourself into 4, you're just going to push yourself wide for the rest of it. So it's a very important section. Here he comes around No Name, just a little bit wide there. Cost himself probably a couple of hundredths of a second, if not a tenth. Coming through pull on now. Very nice lap still. Not using all of the exit there at pull on. So he could have done that a little bit better. But this is only his banker flying lap, so uses all of the exit there at the second S's, coming into the end of the sector 2. Now remember, Sebastian done a 16 flat, so he's 4/10 up on Sebastian, which will put him P2 at this stage. He's not quite Josh's pace yet, as his teammates on an out lap. So here comes John into the bus stop chicane, as Manuel goes to a 47.5 on his mediums. So now we've got 2 people on the mediums. John comes across the line to do a 43.8 to put himself into P2. So is that everything John's got, or is he holding back a little bit? Seb's in pits, Luke's just come in as well. So Mackenzie Stewart is coming up the back straight now to start his flyer. Addy Leaf Tau's out there. Where is Tau coming down through the end of Sector 2? This looks like a very... Well, he must have already aborted this lap. He's coming up to set 1:33 second sector, so he's a good 15 seconds off the pace there. So Mackenzie Stewart comes around turn 1. Now he's got a Mercedes of Addy just in front of him. Mackenzie's not using any ERS at this stage. He's just lifted through the uphill section there, so he's not pushing this lap either. We got Towel is coming into the pits, hits the pit wall just ever so slightly. So now I've got, ladies and gentlemen, with only 10 runners, if it is a dry start of the race, everyone will set their times and start on the tyre that they set their fastest with, being that you can't get out of the top 10. So very strategy wise here at the moment. Towel is still in the pits on the mediums, so Addy and Leaf are Leaf's just into the sector 1, shortcutting everything there. Leaf, you wouldn't want to be doing that too much, and let me catch it on stream. Tow's in, Mackenzie's on a flyer, so we'll watch the end of this lap here for Mackenzie, but he's still not pushing. It was only a 23, I think it just said there, for sector 2. So I don't know what he's actually playing at here, but for some reason he's not pushing on this first lap of his soft compound tyre. So here he comes again. He might have invalidated turn 1 or something that we didn't catch there on stream. So he's coming through turn 1 now. ERS is on hot lap. Comes down the hill, easy short shift into second and third. Then he revs it all out. So ERS is still in hot mode. I assume engine mix will be at max. Comes up the hill nicely. He holds 7th gear like myself. So then he clicks into 8th, coming down the Camel Straight. Coming into 4, 5, 6. The end of sector 1 is a 30.0, so it's a little bit behind at the moment, and he's already backed out of it again, so he's just not confident enough at the moment. He's done a 54, so that's very unfortunate. Addy's just behind him in his Mercedes. So what can Addy do for his first flyer? And Leaf is a little bit behind them. Addy comes through pull-on. So what can Addy do? We are looking at I think it's a 1:15 point something. An early 1:15 at the end of sector 2 would put him on time for pole. So it's a 1:15.9, so he's not far off of pole. Luke's gone to P2 at a 1:43.8. So he's only 9/100ths of a second in front of John. John's just starting an outlap, or John's on an outlap. So Manuel is still the only driver on the medium compound tyre doing the reverse strategy to everyone else. So Addy comes around. Oh, excuse me. Addy comes around the final corner now, put himself up to a P4 with a 1:44.3. Josh just goes quickest with a with a 43.2s. So I was expecting to see some of these guys down in the 42s for qualifying, but that's yet to happen. So maybe track conditions, track temperatures not quite there just yet. So Tao just comes across the line to start his fly. Leaf's just coming up to the line. What can he do? He does a 150, so invalidated, doesn't actually count. So John's on a fly coming up a Rouge. He's all a bit squirmish up there. I don't know if that was just a bit of lag or his car was actually squirmish, but that will hurt his time just a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on that. Seb's on a flyer as well. Can Seb better himself and make it, put his Renault up to the front? At the moment, Toro Rosso have got the front row lockout. So we got Cush, Manuel and Mackenzie all in the pits. And Manuel's still got those medium compound tyres selected with about 5 minutes to go. So Luke's in the pits, Josh is just about to come into pits. So Sebastian now coming around No Name. Not using all of the track there just yet. Not using any ERS at this stage. So I don't know if he's already invalidated this lap and he's boarding out of it with just over 4 minutes to go. He'll get back to pit lane and get to select a new set of tyres and go out again if he has mucked this lap up. Which I would say he has, because he's not using any ERS and he's over 1 minute 30. So he's not pushing on this lap. Manuel has finally selected the soft compound tyre. Leaf and Towel are still yet to set times. So they're leaving it very late here at the Red Bull. As Leaf has that horrible rev glitch. So Cush in the racing point is the only one out on track at the moment. So he's got a whole 7 kilometre track to himself. I think it is actually 7.2 k's, not 7.9 like I said there at the start. So at this stage, Josh has provisional pole with just over 3 minutes to go. Josh has provisional pole by 6 tenths of a second over his teammate Luke, and then John in P3 by 9 100ths of a second, and then Sebastian by 1/10. And then Addy is mid-pack at P5. It's weird to say mid-pack in P5. And then Cush, it's just started his flying lap coming down the hill to Arouge. So this track itself has seen some exciting races. Most notably, I think it was the 96 Grand Prix where Jordan got their first win for the manufacturer. So it does have some exciting racing within its history. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong with that 96 year that it was, but yeah, so anything can happen here, and if we put some rain on this track, maybe later in the race, we've still yet to have no update on who's actually on what the weather's doing. So everybody is now out on an outlap. We're just waiting for Cush to come through sector 2. What's he setting? Remember, a 15 is a good split time. So he's at a 15.7, so he will put himself up to, I'd imagine that will put him near on a 44 flat if he can keep this going. Coming up to the bus stop chicane, we got yellow flags. Luke's just started his flyer, Mackenzie started the flyer. Cush comes across the line with a 43.9, so he jumps Addy now in the mid-pack. So Luke's spun it at turn 6, so that won't be helping him at all. He can't find reverse, so he's just reversed it off the track as Mackenzie goes through. So we'll keep an eye out on Mackenzie here and see who's next to start their flyer. So this will be Mackenzie's one and only shot to get a good qualifying lap in. So here he comes through Puon. He's about right with sector times. Manuel's started his flyer, Josh started his flyer, Seb started his flyer, Leaf started the flyer, Towers just started the flyer. So I think John will be the final car across the line. So there will be a bit of flicking through cars here, but Mackenzie's coming back up the hill to the main straight. What can he do? Can he put himself up and make it a Renault, a McLaren through 3-4? But we're not counting John out from stealing P1 here. Mackenzie comes across the line with a 44.3, so that is Mackenzie's worst qualifying to date. So now we've got Josh at pull one, we've got Leaf at no name, Towers coming up to no name, Manuela's at pull one, Addy's at no name, Sebastian's at, where's Sebastian, just coming up to sector 3, John's at pull one. So Josh will be our next one, and then it will be Sebastian. So what can Josh do here? Can he make it, can he lock out provisional pole? So he comes up to bus stop chicane. So this is a very good showing here from Toro Rosso at the moment. Josh comes across the line to do a 43 flat. Seb's going to come across the line, and what can he do? Seb does a 43.7. So there we have it. Seb's taken off Luke's as John goes. John went quicker as well. I didn't quite see where he ended up. Addy's down in the P7. So that's not a great qualifying. Oh, so John jumps Sebastian there with 143.4. So that is by 3 100ths of a second. Luke is down into P4 with a 143.8. He would have thought that lap would have got him comfortably on the front row, but it's P4. And then you got Cush in the P5, Towel in the P6, Addy P7, Mackenzie's P8. He won't be happy with that at all. Leaf in the P9 and Manuela in the Haas rounding up the field for P10. So at this moment, it's looking a bit overcast. If anyone is watching and racing, please leave me a comment to let me know what the weather's doing, but we're just waiting for everyone to select their strategy. So with that, I'll just take a quick drinks break. So they're all taking a bit of time here to set their cars up for the race, selecting their strategy, what they're going to do with tyres. Now it's a dry start, so they'll all be on that soft compound tyre again. So what can we see? What will we see throughout this race? Taking this long to get everyone sorted. I wonder if there's a bit of lag somewhere, so I'll give you a quick rundown here of where everyone is. So Josh Bank got pole position with a 143.0. Then you got John Lindenberg in P2 with a 143.4. Then you got Sebastian Spicer with his highest qualifying to date, I do believe, with a 143.7. Luke Barter's with a 143.8. Cush is in P5, Towel is in P6 in the Red Bull, the first of the Red Bulls. Addy is in P7 in the only Mercedes this weekend, missing his teammate Jeff Gene. Mackenzie Stewart in P8, he did a 44.3, I think it was, I haven't got that written down. Leaf in the second of the Red Bulls in P9. And then Manuela in the only of the Haas at this stage running up the rear of the field. So there we have it. everyone's on soft compound tyres. As you can see there, they're all just starting to warm everything up. Josh is still running with hot lap ERS mode. That's a bit strange on the out lap. John's running none, Sebastian's running none, Luke's running none, Kush is running at high, Tau's running none, Addy's running hot lap, Mackenzie's not running any, Leaf's not running any, Manuela's not running any, so there are a few guys that aren't running any. I mean, it doesn't use any for the start of the race. I think you get your 100% back at the start of the race anyway. It just adds that little bit of extra heat into the motor, and you don't really want your motor to be too hot at the start of the race, that they are going to get hot sitting on the grid anyway. Just the way they're designed, they need that flowing air to stay cool. So he's now set it down, Josh has set his ERS down to low as they start to form up on the grid. Well, the AI had set it down to low, sorry. So Josh has now dived onto the inside line. So they're pointing towards the outside apex at turn 1. So here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Josh with another pole position. And Josh will know what John's like to fight. Here we go. Revs aren't building. Revs are building now, ladies and gentlemen. Holding first gear, the clutch is in. And away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix. Josh Banks has got an awesome start. John's started there. Luke's jumped. Sebastian. Oh, we got Addy back there with a massive crash. There is a massive crash here. Addy, Isaac and Tao have all been involved there. So I don't actually know what happened. I saw Addy in the background, but we'll go back to the front. So Josh has kept John behind him. Luke's jumped Sebastian, but Sebastian's having a good little look now. Can he make the move stick? Sebastian to the outside of the corner. Sorry, wrong way there to flip the camera. So we can't quite make that move stick. Mackenzie's up to P5 after his terrible qualifying. Manuela into P6. Leaf into P7. Addy into P8. Now, has he got wing damage? Yes, he has. Tao into P9. He's got wing damage as well. And Kush has come out with that unscathed, so Kush will jump those two of Addy and Tao, but Josh Banks is pulling away now from John Lindenberg, who's pulling a little bit away from Luke Barters, and Sebastian Spice is still tucked up behind him. Stuart McKenzie into P5, so this is a great little train here. Manuela's got a bit squirmish there coming out of the second S's, can't quite pull it up onto the apex. Coming into the final at the end of sector 2. So now they climb the hill for the first time, and Josh is already out of DRS range as Tao and Addy's made another mistake, has he? No, I don't think he did. He just got a terrible run coming onto the back straight. So we'll watch this. Is this going to be another calamity? Addy goes very wide. He's really missing the front half of that front wing. As you can see, it's probably red. So Addy's in the pits. Tao didn't actually pit that lap, which is surprising. But Josh has absolutely bolted away from John here at 1.2 seconds already within a lap. John's got Luke still thereabouts with 8 tenths, and Sebastian's thereabouts with 6 tenths, and Mackenzie's thereabouts with 5 tenths. So we could have a 4-way battle for P2 if Luke catches John, starts battling but can't get around, and lets Sebastian and Mackenzie catch back up. Addy's gone onto the hard compound tyre, still in the pit lane according to my telemetry, and he's just come out now. So now being on the hards, he'll take them all the way to the end. And I do know this because last night in a practice race, Lance Stroll AI had done 21 laps on medium compound tyres and actually got disqualified from the race for not using both compounds, or for not using 2 different compounds. So if the mediums can do 21 laps effectively before being disqualified, the hard should be able to do it well and truly. So Josh just got a bit squirmish there coming into the end of Sector 2. You saw now he's lost almost half of that gap that he did have. He's now within DRS range. Well, John's within DRS range now, which he'll get up the Camel Straight next lap if he stays this close. John's dropped Luke just a little bit. Luke can't quite keep up with John's pace. John's got the fastest lap with a 47.6 at this stage. But Stuart McKenzie's caught right up to the back of Seb, and Seb's fallen off of Luke. So is Seb starting to worry about what's behind him a bit more than what's in front of him. So now with DRS, McKenzie should make this easy as Seb doesn't have DRS. But McKenzie's not really arguing the point. He's dived to the inside at turn 4. He's outbraked himself though. So that hasn't really worked there for McKenzie. Sebastian played it safe and made McKenzie make the mistake, but John didn't get around at the John didn't get any closer to Josh either, so John's still there at P2. Luke's in the middle of all of this battling. He's got a group battling in front and a group battling behind, but he's just outside of DRS range. Sebastian's gone terribly right at Pouon, and McKenzie's gone on the inside. Whether or not there was a little bit of contact there, we don't know. Now, just a little bit of a recap from last weekend, ladies and gentlemen. John appealed that 5-second penalty for a collision under the safety car with, I think it was Addy, and that appeal was successful. So John took the victory off of his teammate Mackenzie Stewart after last weekend's race. So yeah, that's a big turning point in the championship. As I've given you a rundown earlier of the championship standings, they are up to date. So at this point, John won't take the lead unless he can get the lead off of Josh. He won't get the lead of the championship at this stage. He'll close the gap, and it'll only be 3 points behind, 5 points behind, as he'll get 18 points at this standing. So coming up a Rouge, they're both flat. Coming onto the Camel Straight, he's almost within a dive length now of 4/10. He's not using any ERS, so he's happy just to stick behind Josh at the moment. Josh, I don't believe, was using any ERS either, but Josh doesn't have a lot left, whereas John's still got 50% of his battery. Josh has only got 13%, so Josh is really starting to push now as Leaf has... Oh, Manuel's spun, so he's spun it at turn 4, so that's not a very good showing there for the Haas, unfortunately. So I want... and Tao just gets around him as well. So has he got wing damage on this Haas? No, he hasn't. He's got away with that. So that's very lucky there. So we'll go back to the front. John's still yet to get around Josh, but like I say, John's saving a lot of ERS. Josh is saving a lot this lap as well. But John's got double the amount of ERS as what Josh has got, and he's 5 tenths behind Josh at the moment, and ever so closing coming up the hill. So could have been a bit of a dive bomb if you really wanted to there into the bus stop, but you sacrifice your exit speed coming onto the main straight, and you sacrifice your DRS. So here he goes, DRS is open. Can he make a move into turn 1? I don't think he will at this stage. He's still right behind him. Josh will know the sort of pressure as they were contending for the championship last season on the old F1 game, as Tao gets a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. So what can John do this lap? We're right on board in the overtake. He's gone for the move. He's just held that steadily. He hasn't overly pushed it. He hasn't done anything silly. He's really been building up to that move. Now Josh has got the slipstream and the DRS when they come back around for the next lap. So what can Josh do now and save a bit of battery, a bit of fuel, as Luke now is still got a good margin between himself and Mackenzie. Mackenzie's not really catching up, which is surprising. As I'll say that, Mackenzie got himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, so Mackenzie's using all of the track limit and some. So that's already hurt Mackenzie's. He's the only one in the top 5 to get a time penalty at this stage. So what can Josh do here with John now got slipstream up the hill? Will he try and stay within John, or will he just, if he lets John go now, I think John will run away with the race. So he can't just let John go, he's still got to stay with him, but he's got to do it smartly, save a bit of ERS, save a bit of fuel while we're there in the slipstream. So very strategy racing here. Oh, Josh has got a beautiful line at the bus stop. Closed in, it looked like it closed in immensely, but it didn't actually close anything in. So John's just gone and set a quickest lap of the 47.5. So John's really starting to push now. I'm expecting to see all of these guys in at about lap 9-10 if they're going to go the one shot onto the mediums. So, and I don't actually think Addy will jump anyone. He'll come close to Manuela and Chow, well, Manuel at least. I don't think he'll jump him for not needing to pit. So Addy, unfortunately, with that contact earlier on, has really costed him this race, but he needs to stay in it and do 90%, otherwise he won't get any points for his team. It might only be 1 point, but if he can go on to hard compound, soft compound tyres at the end and get the fastest lap, they are all in the top 10, so the top 10 can get a point for the fastest lap, and every point will help. So at this moment, Josh and John are the only two that are within battle apart from Tao and Manuel, and Manuel has just got around Tao. So that's why Tao is so close to Manuel. But up front here now, John's really starting to try and stretch Josh away. You can see Josh is near on caught up to the amount of battery that John had. Still not as much as what John had when he was behind Josh. John really had it up to 60-70% of battery, whereas Josh can't quite keep it there. Tao's just got another 3 seconds, so that's 8 seconds now worth of time penalties with that 5 second just a minute ago. So he's really abusing the track limits. So Josh now, overtake mode is engaged. What's his engine? I can't quite see what his engine mode is. He's got a beautiful run in coming into the Camel Straight. Will he go for the move? He dives to the inside, side by side, comfortably around. So these two just battling like this now might allow Luke just a little touch. I mean, John and Josh aren't holding each other up by any means. They're doing it all at the slipstream and DRS. So Josh could have just flipped it down to no ERS there and sat behind John and tried to let John pull away from Luke, because Luke's going to have to think about team here, because he's only about 5.5 seconds away from his teammate currently. So if they both box on the same lap, as Josh has got the track position, so he'll get priority call. But if Luke boxes on the same lap, it could really hurt Luke here, as Mackenzie's starting to close in now and Sebastian's fallen right off to stay P5. So Mackenzie's doing a nice clean drive here from P8 qualifying. So yeah, back up to the front. Josh is still there with a Oz. Josh is now in the pits. Oh no, that's Luke in the pits. Sorry, Luke started in the pits. Josh is still out on track. So now, did Luke hit that fence, or was that just a bit of lag? We've not seen that someone else is coming in as well. Who's that? That is Sebastian in as well. So Luke would have seen that Josh didn't hit the pit lane and thought, well, I might as well. So Josh is stretching these tyres all the way to the end. You can see Luke's come out in P6. Sebastian in P7, Manuela's not actually jumped either of them, as Tau's in the pits and he's getting the new front wing. So Addy might jump Tau here and put himself up to P9. Oh, Manuela's out. Where has that happened? We're just waiting to see. Must have been up to Rouge. We'll wait and see. Addy's coming around turn 1. Oh, that's very squeamish there, Addy. Josh has pulled right away from John now. He's 1.1 seconds. So where has Manuela left it? It is Upper Rouge. Oh, it's on the outside there. You just saw his car. We'll jump on board here with Towel and you see his car there. So that's very unfortunate. But Josh has got a big gap now, 1.1 seconds to John. And now John and Mackenzie, you've got the double stacking problem here for McLaren. So will Mackenzie dive in this lap? If John doesn't, will John dive in to cover Josh? Josh is in the pits. John stayed out, so will Mackenzie come into pits? This is yes, Mackenzie's in the pits as well now. So this is this is John's hammer time now. Can he make the move stick? He's got to jump Josh by 1.1 seconds. I think John's just left it at 1 lap too late. Luke's jumped back up to P4. He's still behind his teammate quite considerably actually. But Luke's jumped Mackenzie, but not by much. Well, Luke was already in front of Mackenzie anyway, so Mackenzie's caught up by a couple of tenths, but he's gained on Sebastian by almost a second. So Kush has just come out of pits now in P7, Addy in a P8. He's still 34 seconds behind Kush as Leaf gets some multiple warnings penalty there. So John now 16.3 seconds in front of Josh. Josh has got clean air, new tyres, whereas Luke's got clean air but 1 lap older tyres than Mackenzie. Mackenzie's in the dirty air now of Luke. So who's going to have the most of the podium here? Is it going to be Toro Rosso or a McLaren? So currently Josh has got up to 15.7 seconds. So Josh is closing that gap to John. John will be coming into the bus stop now. This would have to be his pit lap to cover everyone. No, John stays out 1 extra lap. So he's losing time every lap here to Josh. Every sector he's losing time at the moment. So if he's not careful, he might even be jumped by Luke and Mackenzie, as Mackenzie's trying to put pressure on Luke. So this will be hurting Mackenzie's. As Mackenzie gets a 5-second penalty, so that's now 8 seconds as well for Mackenzie. So even if he makes this position change, it could put him out off the podium, as we did see in China, I think, China or maybe Bahrain, where he lost P2 due to penalties and we saw Tyler Beasley up on the podium. So at the moment, Mackenzie's using all of the track limit. Luke's just got his first penalty for multiple warnings. So Luke's pushing hard as well. So at the moment, the only two without any penalties are the two at the front, John and Josh. I don't think Sebastian has a penalty either, but he's 5 seconds behind. So at this stage, he'll jump Mackenzie if the race was to end right now. So he's got to stay within, I think it is 8 seconds now that Mackenzie's got up. Mackenzie's right up the back gearbox here of Luke. And Josh has caught up another second from last lap at the same point in time. So almost halfway through this race, and we're still yet to see the leader come in for his one and only stop of the race. Will he come in this lap? Coming up to the bus stop chicane now. He's hard on the brakes coming into the bus stop. Still no pit stop for John. So he is going to lose out to Josh massively, but can Luke and Mackenzie jump him as well? I don't think so. That's 22 seconds that he's got to get. Luke's really got to start catching It's 23 seconds off the leader. I'll just check that. Yeah, it is 23 seconds off the leader. I didn't quite catch a transit time, so I don't think it's quite that long. I think it's about a 20-second transit time. Addy's caught up a little bit to Kush, so Addy's starting to make a little bit of in-ground. Mackenzie just can't quite get around Luke at this stage, but I don't know if he's actually trying. He's not using all the ERS deployment. He's not overly pushing it, but Luke is defending quite well. John's lost another second, so John's tyres now are really starting to hurt it compared to Josh's. So this could hurt John. Mackenzie's got a beautiful run out of 4.56. He goes around the outside of the hairpin. They're side by side. Can Mackenzie stick it out here? No, he can't. I thought he might have stuck it out and tried to stay for the inside line in the no-no. Coming down the pull-on now. Can they, mate? Can he do anything here? No, he can't. He just sticks in behind Luke. Luke is defending this position very well. Luke's just made a few little errors here and there and given Mackenzie a sniff. And that's all Mackenzie would need to put it in here. Tau's got another 3-second penalty, so he will be almost nearing disqualification for the amount of penalties he's got. I do believe you're allowed up to 30 seconds as our leader is in the pits. So let's see where Josh is. Josh is just coming up to the bus stop now. John's still yet to actually stop, so Josh might take this convincingly. John's just hit these pit box. Josh is coming over the line now. So John's just fired up. You can hear it in the background. Josh is coming down the hill. So John's just coming out of pit lane. Luke and Mackenzie are... So John's lost out massively to that. He's 3 seconds behind, but he's got 3 lap fresher tyres. Could that see him make a late charge at the end? He's done 11 laps on those medium compound tyres as Tau now is out of the race as well. And unfortunately I won't be able to see where that's actually happened, because hopefully we can get a good view of that. But Josh now coming into the hairpin. Mackenzie Stewart still all over the back of Luke. Luke's defending quite hard. Luke's gone the inside of the hairpin again. Mackenzie's trying again around the outside. Luke's just got the better traction there, Mackenzie. Oh, I thought he was going to hold it there around to the inside. Now this battling is letting Sebastian catch up not catch up, but they're not pulling away from Sebastian. So Sebastian could take P4 here with 10 laps to go. It is a very short race, but being such a long track, it feels it's still be 45-minute length, but you know, according by the lap standards, it's a very short race. So, but once you get in the rhythm of the track, it doesn't feel too bad to drive, and you really enjoy yourself, and you lose yourself in time, and just forget how long it actually takes you. It's just a very nice track to drive, and if you get it all right, it's very pleasing. So Mackenzie now into the final corner. Can he get a good exit on Luke? Luke gets a nice exit as well though. So Luke's doing all the right things here. He's defending a little bit too much. Oh, Mackenzie's down the inside of turn 1. I thought there might have been a little bit of contact. Mackenzie's now really getting the hurry on. Sebastian's only 3.8 seconds behind these two. So who's got the better run? Luke's got no ERS to speak of. So this will be an easy overtake here for Mackenzie Stewart around the outside of the Camel Straight. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, as easy as like it. So now Mackenzie Stewart is in the P3, Luke's in P4, but now Luke can save a bit of battery and make a charge at the end of this within a couple of laps back to Mackenzie. Or will Luke just let Mackenzie go and maybe try and stay within that 8 seconds or 5 seconds of time penalty and get that position back? Luke's already dropped off 1.2 seconds. So Luke is falling really far back here. from Mackenzie. John's not catching Josh at all. Who actually has our fastest lap at the moment? Josh has it at 47.3. So that's a great lap there by Josh. So, yeah, at this moment, it's a pretty stalemate old race. Josh in P1, John just goes quickest with a 47 flat, so John's is coming. I didn't actually see what Josh's last lap was, but John's coming now. And then for P3 you have Mackenzie Stewart, P4 is Luke Barters, P5 is Sebastian Spicer, P6 is Leaf, P7 is Cush, and P8 is Addy Bettenbauer running up the rear of the field after that lap 2-3 incident where he's had to put on these hard compound tyres even though it's showing softs. He's got discos on the front, but they stay steadily softs on the rear, but he is on the hard compound tyre, so yeah, very interesting here. John's caught up a couple of tenths now to get it under 3 seconds of a gap, whereas Luke's fallen off 2.2 seconds. Sebastian's back now to 3, so you can just see how much Mackenzie was being held up there by Luke in that second stint. Now Mackenzie's got fresh air for as long as he wants. Can he really make a charge up to his teammate? Even his teammate do talk and party chat throughout the race. They are good mates, so they will be talking to each other and trying to outbetter each other for sure. So at the moment we have no real battles to speak of. So I'll just take a quick break for a drinks break. We'll ride on board Josh for a lap. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. There is a lap with Josh Banks around Spa. You did notice there he was in lean engine mix and very low deployment of ERS. You just hear the engine wasn't revving as high as they normally would. You know, they were doing 330 odd through qualifying down the Camel Straight, and he's battling to reach 316, so he's just in cruise mode at the moment, which is probably why John's starting to catch him just that little bit. But Mackenzie's falling off of John, surprisingly, and Luke's now starting to catch back up to Mackenzie, so I don't think Mackenzie will keep this P3 with all the penalties he has got. Addy is now in the pits. or safer soft compound tyres, try and get a fastest lap. So with 8 laps remaining, John's now within the same camera shot of Josh. Cush is up the back at Leaf, but they've both got a lot of penalties, and I don't actually know if this position will stay changed or not. Leaf has gone around at Pullon. He must have just touched the outside curb a bit too hard, and it's almost an auto spin curb. Same with the inside at the end of Pullon there. It's just spun him out to the outside of Pullon, but now we go back to the front because this battle's just starting to heat up. John's just done a quickest lap with a 47.0. So that compared to qualifying times, lady, we done a 43.0. So we're 4 seconds slower than what we were at qualifying a lap. Now, I understand these laps are a compound harder than what we used in qualifying, and John's are 5 laps over, whereas Josh's are 8. So, it's just interesting to see that we're 4 seconds a lap slower at this stage than what we were in qualifying. It just shows how much extra fuel and conservative driving, really plays a part in this sport. Qualifying is where they put everything out to it. They don't worry about engine blow-ups, they don't worry about all of that. They just pump the car for that one lap and then try and rest it through the race. Now, regulations say they're only allowed a certain amount of components throughout the season. I do think it's 3 of everything throughout the season, so in real life you can see why they don't really want to stretch their cars. Mackenzie's just got another penalty for multiple warnings, so that won't be helping him either, as Luke's starting to catch him. Yes, that was when Leaf went around. So our only battle is John starting to catch Josh, but I don't know if it's going to be a little bit too late. Josh was saving fuel there when he had the big gap. I don't think he'll be saving much anymore, knowing that John's behind him. And as I said earlier, these two were the main 2 battlers for Season 3 Championship, so Josh will know what it's like to keep John behind him, and John will know what Josh's pace is like, and Josh has really stepped up for the last half of this season so far. He had a terrible start of the season, couldn't really get in the rhythm. He swapped teams after round 1 and come to Toro Rosso. He did start off the season in the Renault. Had a terrible race at Australia and crashed out, and I think from there he just lost his head a little bit, but now he's come back to composure, so he's now starting to show his true form yet again, and could really take the battle to Bailey and John. And most weekends he's quicker than Mackenzie. Mackenzie's just fallen off the pace a little bit since his mid-season in Season 3 little break there. Addy goes quickest with a 46.9. So he's only 1/10 quicker than what John's setting on the medium compound. So that's a bit surprising there. I thought he might have gone quicker than that. But so yeah, ever since Mackenzie's got back from his little boot camp, he just hasn't seemed to be able to find the pace. He has bought a new wheel recently, being the Thrustmaster over the Logitech, due to his Logitech braking, so he should be familiarised with the Thrustmaster by now, but Luke's starting to close in back onto Mackenzie now as well. So we've got this age-old battle of John and Josh that has now become a bit stagnant. I think Josh is really starting to pile on a bit more pressure, but Luke's starting to push as well now, which is, I don't know if it's forcing Mackenzie to try and get everything out of the track, or Mackenzie's just getting a bit of understeering and going wide and giving himself penalties. But the pressure from behind him will certainly be hurting him. Sebastian's just dropped right off the pace. He's 7.4 seconds behind Luke. He was only 1.7 there at one stage. So John now's 1.6 behind Josh, which is about stagnant. They're trading lap times, I do believe. So yeah, very interesting to see here from the two leaders. We'll jump back on board Josh and see what he's got his engine mix turned up to. Sounds like it's on standard now. He's not saving any fuel. He's using all of the revs. Using a bit more ERS as well. John doesn't have that much of ERS. John's really pushing. You can see it in overtake mode. You can see the engine's in rich. You know, gear 8 is really wringing the neck out of this McLaren to try and close his gap. But he just can't quite get there at the moment. I think Josh has done enough to hold his P1. John goes quickest now with a 46.9. So that just goes to show that John's still got pace in these medium compound tyres. What can Addy do on the softs? Has he got an answer for that sort of pace? So we'll stay on board John here and see how he goes over the Camel Straight. Addy now gets 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. So John's just backed off ERS. I think John was saving a bit of fuel too there, but Josh has got a lot more ERS than what John has, but as Mackenzie's fallen 14 seconds back off John, and now he's got Luke in close proximity to worry about as well. Luke's got a bit of disco tyres happening as well here with the softs and mediums. So it's good to see that Codemasters can patch stuff that no one really wants fixed, but they can't patch the big stuff on online racing that needs to be fixed, like the time delays and these tyre discos happening. So personal opinion, they're concentrating on the things that don't really matter. They've built a game for eSport online racing and committed to it, but there's so many bugs within it. A lot of the big YouTubers aren't even league racing this year, so yeah, that's very surprising to see that, and very disappointing to see that for F1. Josh has just gone quickest with a 46.7. So Josh now is starting to push, coming down the hill. So Luke is still 1.4 seconds behind Mackenzie. Just can't quite get in that DRS range. If he does get within that DRS range, I would expect him to close right up, but Luke's just not managing his ERS as well as everyone else around him, which is a bit of a shame. So, but out of that, the top four, Josh has the now Mackenzie has the most, but he just hit a big breaking point. So Josh did have the most ERS out of the top four a second ago. But, so Josh is now putting a charge on just to show John that he's still got pace in these slightly older tyres. They are 3 laps older. And did John really throw this race away when he stayed out those extra 3 laps on his softs? Gave Josh the chance to really undercut him, and I think John's paying the price now. If he boxed, the lap after Josh did, they might have been a bit closer and actually give us a battle to watch. But at the moment, Josh has got a comfortable lead, still without no DRS, no slipstream to talk of from John coming behind him. Josh sets another quickest with a 46, and John matches it and betters it straight up with a 46.7. So that's an extra point for John at this stage. So what can we see now? They're both pushing, and they're both pushing hard. You got Luke right up the back now of Mackenzie's. He's within DRS range. Well, he was there at turn 1, coming out of turn 1. So can he get it back up Rouge? He's now within the second. Did he just hit it at the activation point? No, he did not. By the look of it, no, he did not. So he's not quite there yet. He should be next lap around if he can stay this close. So with this final lap, ladies and gentlemen, Josh Banks is coming around the line now. Coming around Pawn, sorry, not coming across the line. So Josh Banks is coming into the end of sector 2. Coming through the quick S's at the back of the circuit. Great racing by Josh. He's kept his composure. He didn't overdrive the car when John got in front of him there in the first stint. He stayed thereabouts and really got a good run, and he's kept his head down and kept everything calm and composed at the moment. He's coming into the bus stop chicane to take another victory off the Trans Nations eSports F1 category. Congratulations, Josh Banks, to do the win. John Lindenberg takes home P2. Stuart Mackenzie is going to lose out here P3 to Luke at least, I do believe. So Mackenzie comes out of the bus stop, coming across the line. Where's he going to finish? 27 seconds behind, but Luke actually jumps him now. Can Sebastian jump him as well? Sebastian's got the rev glitch. Sebastian comes across the line. No, he can't jump. Mackenzie's only 5 tenths behind him, so only if he pushes that a little bit harder is left now as our final race finisher. What can he do? So we've got a Toro Rosso 1-3, ladies and gentlemen, with a McLaren in P2. I'll just invite these guys into the party. Let me do this for a quick second, guys, and we should do this. You, and you. So we'll just wait for these guys to come into the party. So great race there by Toro Rosso. Great bunch of points that will really help them. For so long at the first part of that season, they didn't have 2 drivers. Matthew Ellie is starting in the car, is now F4. Matthew started in the Red Bull but went to Toro Rosso. So we'll start with Luke. Great qualifying, Luke, there. You've done a 1:43.8 to qualify P4. Just talk us through that lap quickly there, champ. When you set that lap, you were P2, I think it was, or P2, and then John jumped you. Were you expecting to be that far down with a 43.8? Yeah, so now we'll go to your race. Great little battle there with Mackenzie in the second stint. You just really had the pace there, and thankfully Mackenzie had all those other penalties, so you jump up to P3, mate. Just talk us through your race. Yeah, well, you caught right back up to him, so I don't know if he was just starting to coast or. Oh, really? Righty, yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, a great section of points for you. So that will definitely bump you up the championship standings a bit, and a great pack of points for the Toro Rossos. So congratulations on your P3, mate, and that's your first podium for Translation eSport. So so over to John now. John, P2 in qualifying with a 43.4. Just talk us through that lap, Chief.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one. Around what I expected, something. Yeah, around those times. But Josh was really quick. I mean, it 43.4 in the first run, so there was no matching him there.
Yeah, so in the end, comfortable P2. I don't think you ever, call me biased, but I don't think you ever really had the pace to match Josh throughout the race. Personally, I think you left your pit stop a bit too long trying to go the overcut. But just talk us through that pit strategy just quickly.
Yeah, that was. I felt Josh was quicker too on the soft stand, and he pulled away from DRS right before he pitted. So I decided I'd do the opposite and just stay out if there's a VSC or something, because I was gonna be out of his DRS range anyway, so I just stayed out as long as I could. Or had a pit window up down to P3. So yeah,
Did you
that was
staying out
how I
though
did.
hurt your fight back? I know you had the fresher tyres there in the second stint, but Josh was catching you about a second a lap when he was on the mediums and you're on your old sauce. I'm just wondering if you pitted earlier, could you have been closer together and make that second stint a little bit more exciting for the viewers?
Maybe I just wasn't expecting to be catching him on the mediums really, so
Yeah,
just
right, yeah.
banking on a VSC or something. So
Yep.
I don't know how much the pressure tires was for catching up and
Yeah,
pushing all
so
the seconds then. So
yeah, you take 18 points out of Bailey now, your championship rival who missed this race. So it's only 7 points in it between you and Bailey now coming into Monza. Your thoughts on next weekend? You're pretty quick around Monza, are you?
yeah, I do like the track, but I think I'm missing the race. With
Oh
cozy
no,
weekend
that's
with European time changes. Yeah.
yeah, rightio. Okay,
This is
so we'll
probably
leave it
the last
there.
time I'll lead the competition.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll leave it there, mate. We'll go to our pole
And congrats to
position.
Josh, mega K-Star race and all that.
Yeah. So over to you, Josh. P1 qualified first with a 43 flat. Just talk us through your qualifying lap quickly, Chief.
Uh,
Immense lap.
oh yeah, it was my quali lap was it was a pretty clean lap. I was really happy with it. Never managed to get to the flats in any practice sessions. So yeah, I was really happy with the quali lap.
Good. Race was pretty convincing. You didn't drop your head when John got around you in the first stint there, and you kept with him, and then you overtook him again. Got out of DRS range just before your pit stop, and then from there it was a pretty comfortable win. We'd done a whole lap riding on board, and you were just coasting there for a bit. Just talk us through your race quickly, mate.
Oh yeah, the first stint it was all right. I mean, I my pedals were acting up a little bit. I was downshifting and it downshifted twice instead of once. So a couple of circumstances, my rig end kicked out, and then he gained a whole bunch of time on me. But um, just basically saving my ERS while he was catching me on his fresh mediums, and then I was just getting ready for the attack late in the race, and managed to hold him off to get another race win.
I saw you were trading fastest laps there with a couple of laps to go. Great race by everyone, and I think we'll leave it there. So again, congratulations to our top three. Josh Banks takes a clean sweep of this weekend with pole and the race win. Join us next week for Monza, Italy GP and the Nationals. I don't even know where they are next week. So join us again next weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mark Bratby, followed in here with P1 and P2 guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you all next week.